Boelter Jones, Pro Football Hall of Famer, top 100.
Tyler Lockett from the Seattle Seahawks.
EK Metcalf from
Dave Burleson. You're watching NorbCam.
NorbCam.
You're watching NorbCam.
What's up, everybody? This is NorbCam coming at you with another collaboration, another Behind Enemy Lines video coming at you here to discuss this upcoming matchup with another New York team, the New York Jets, coming to town on Sunday. Now, as we all know, the Seahawks didn't fare so well when they played the other New York team, the Giants. Bad loss, unfortunately set us back a little bit, but we're hoping this game against the Jets will be a get-right type of game, a bounce-back win. But I'm going to find out from a guy who knows the Jets very well how easy or challenging that may be. It's easy to overlook a team that hasn't won a game all season, but they got darn close last week, and I want to talk about that too. So before I bring my special guest in, I just want to remind everybody, please, if you wouldn't mind, hit that notification bell, smash that like button, and subscribe. It would really be great. I'm really close to hitting 45K on the goal to get to 50, which would be a huge milestone, and only like 200 and like 183 or something away from getting to 45. So that'd be huge if you can do me that favor. I also just want to remind people too that I do have the membership program, the NorbCam membership program, which is right here over my face. It's called NorbCam. You can join in the description or in the join section of my page. And so you get a bunch of cool emojis, a bunch of behind the scenes stuff, access to special live streams, and I have some special meet and greet stuff on separate occasions as well. So looking forward. I got a bunch of people. In fact, some of the people who've joined are already right here, like Nick LeBeau, Anthony D, Jesse Duckface, Riker Rockstar, and All Pros Maria Mirage and Jason E. So hope you guys can join up as well. And one last little shout out I got to do here. This really cool app, which is right here. The Flick Chat is pretty cool. I'm actually if you go on to the description there, you can get this app. It's free, and I actually have a game, like a fantasy type game, where you can actually win cash. I've given away it's over $700, a few $100 over the last few games, and you can win too by just picking some players and being the lucky one in there. So applies to all the Seahawks matchup games. So this Seahawks-Jets game, you can actually make some money. So get that Flick Chat app and check it out. So without further ado, let me bring on a good friend of the program. Haven't done a collab since before the season started, way before we saw how the season was going to unfold. But here he is, the one and only Gang Green David. Good to see you, brother. How you doing, man?
Norb, thank you so much for having me on. It's always an honor to work with you. Once every 4 years in the making. We're right back where we started. We did this about 4 years ago, back when we played each other in New York. Now the roles are reversed a little bit. We play in the West Coast. It's our first of two West Coast games. We got the Rams next week. So it's going to be quite a bit of fun playing against our former All-Pro safety, Jamal Adams.
We're going to get that in a second. But first, I just want to ask you, we did collab just to talk about the Jamal Adams trade way back before the season started. Obviously, a lot has happened since then. First, I just want to ask you personally, how you doing, man? How's life been treating you? I know it's been a rough season, but how have you been, brother? It's been several months. How's life treating you?
Well, other than just dealing with the whole online schooling, because I am in my last year of college and just kind of still adjusting to everything with the pandemic going on. For somebody that does go to a lot of Jet games, it definitely has felt weird not being able to attend, because no matter how bad we are, I will still be at a game. But it's been a really rough ride recently, because we haven't won a game. We're 0-12. Jet fans have continuously gotten trolled by other fans on a weekly basis. The Jets have gotten trashed by all forms of media outlets, especially sports media outlets. And it's been embarrassing. It's been a very long ride. The quarterback is regressing. The coach hopefully will be on his way to being out. And Jets fans are tired. They're embarrassed. They're disgruntled. We haven't made the playoffs in 10 years. We haven't had a winning record in 5 years. We haven't won a Super Bowl in 50 years. But Jet fans still continue to prove that they're one of the most loyal fan bases in the NFL. No disrespect to any other fans out there. But for Jet fans to go through what they've gone through, especially for years of constant embarrassment, years of continuous frustration, and now possibly going through the worst season in franchise history, where you're on the verge of having a winning record and you're 4 games away from having the number 1 overall pick, it's been a very, very, very excruciating ride.
Yeah, I know. It's been hard. It's been tough. When I watch what happens with the Jets, I think of you, man, and I think of what you've been through. And it's hard to believe when we did that collab, the previous matchup we had. I don't think you were in college yet. I think you were getting ready to go to college.
I was still a senior in high school.
You were a senior in high school. So
I was still a senior in high school.
When you're an old guy like me, the years just sort of all kind of run together. But when you're at your age, 1 year, 2 years, 3 years, 4 years is like a lifetime of difference. So here you are. When I first did this with you, you're high school. Now you're almost graduating as a senior, which is mind-blowing. What do you plan to do when you get out of school, man?
It's there's a lot of things. Hopefully we can get out of this pandemic, but if all goes well, hopefully we can get into grad school, which is what I really want to do. I'm graduating with a pretty tough major, so
what is your major?
I'm a statistics and quantitative modeling major. So yeah, a lot of math involved, tons of it. But
so what does that mean? What do you do with it? That sounds very complicated. What do you do with a degree like that?
Well, basically, considering that I am a business major, you can pretty much go into the business field as a data analyst. So you kind of work with different kinds of data. You work with different kinds of softwares, and considering that data is one of the most important aspects when you're running a business, you're pretty much working with that. You're working with all kinds of different data sets. You're working with stuff. You're working with companies' profits and stuff like that. All different other aspects of data. So it's a tough major, but you know what? It's a good career to have, in my opinion, especially for somebody who is a pretty solid math guy himself. But I would like to have a master's degree in business analytics. Hopefully, my next goal is to get into grad school. So hoping for the best now after that. I'm almost at the end of my first semester senior year, and I hope to finish out strong.
All right, so you're talking about data analytics. So let's talk a little bit of data analytics and talk about the Seahawks-Jets matchup. The first data analytic, it doesn't take a math major to figure out that the Seahawks are, 8-4, and the Jets are 0-12.
I'm pretty sure the Seahawks have a good 90% chance to win the game on Sunday.
Now, I'm going to take that, though, with a grain of salt, because we all as fans went into last week thinking, here starts the easy run of the season. We took care of the Eagles, so now it's just going to be a matter of breezing through the Giants, and then we'll stomp all over the Jets, and then we'll crush the Washington football team. All of a sudden, these teams don't look so easy anymore. We did take care of the Eagles, but the Giants look better than I think anybody thought they were going to be. Now, the Jets, they played a tough game. Face it, you guys should have won that game against the Raiders. I watched your reaction. I had to go see your reaction after I saw what happened in that game. And the pain on your face and the shock of despair after seeing what should have been the final play to have them heave the ball up and then just be knocked down or whatever. But to see them get the Raiders get a touchdown to Henry Ruggs, sprint down the left sideline, bring me back to what that feeling was, because I think you said at the end, that's why I never counted out till the clock goes to 0, but you were already saying we were going to win this game. So I don't know if you were jumping the gun a little bit, man, but you wanted that so bad. And to walk me through the emotions of having been so close to getting that first win and what that was like for you, man.
Well, going back to the Raiders' second to last drive, I think it was just right off the 2-minute warning. The Raiders were driving down the field. The Jets were up by 4 points, and the Jets managed to stop the Raiders 4 straight times deep inside their own territory. So once the Jets got that stop on the Raiders, all the Jets had to do was get one first down, and they won the game. And unfortunately, the brilliant offensive mind himself, who should have been fired a year and a half ago, let's face that fact. He decided to call 3 straight abysmal run plays, all which pretty much gained about half a yard, and the Raiders pretty much burned all 3 of their timeouts. So the Raiders got the ball back. I think it was a minute left. They had no timeouts, and all the Jets had to do, any competent defensive coordinator would have simply just played prevent defense.
So let me back up for a second before you get to that part of it. So the running 3 straight abysmal plays, it's not insane or crazy to run 3 straight plays, because you want to force the defense to call a timeout, right? So you don't want to be throwing the ball, risking an incomplete pass and giving them extra time. So
he could have just thrown a simple screen. That could have worked too.
True. But you're trying to minimize the risk, and you're using the odds of that your defense will get the stop by the time they run out of timeouts and all that stuff. So I didn't think the play calling was that horrible. Yeah, maybe you could have changed it up a little bit, but a lot of coaches would probably have played a similar conservative, chew out the clock kind of offense on that play, right? But
yeah.
So we'll go with that, and I agree with you. He should have been fired a long time ago. I wouldn't have fired him for those series of plays. But now let's flip it. You punt the ball back to the Raiders, and this is where things get interesting. Take it from there.
Yeah, so the Raiders get the ball back. I think there's about a minute left, 50 seconds left of the game. The Raiders get a first down, and then Derek Carr unloads a deep shot to Nelson Aguilar, and he almost caught the ball. And somehow in my mind, I was like, the Jets are going to find a way to blow this game. And come that last play, Greg Williams, who is known to be a heavy blitz defensive coordinator. This is a defensive coordinator that heavily relies on the blitz. He wants to try to pressure the quarterback as much as he possibly can. But in a situation where the Raiders have no timeouts, all you could have done was just play prevent defense. You could have played deep zone, whatever you could have done. All you had to do was just drop a whole bunch of guys back there, and you could have had a better chance to stop the Raiders. But sadly, that last play of the game, you called a cover zero blitz, which pretty much resulted in an inexperienced, undrafted free agent in Lamar Jackson mashed up against the fastest wide receiver in the league in Henry Ruggs. He ran a 4.2 in the 40-yard dash. He just completely smokes him down the field for 40-plus yards, gets a walk-off touchdown with only seconds remaining, and the Raiders win the game. And the next day, Greg Williams got fired because of that defensive play call. And you're wondering, why was Greg Williams fired before Gaze? Because Gaze made the call. That wasn't an organizational decision. Adam Gase was the one that made the call to fire Greg Williams, and it now makes me wonder, as a Jet fan, has Adam Gase taken this organization hostage? Was he the one that brought in all these free agents for the Jets? Was he the one that influenced most of these draft picks? And I will admit, the draft class has played pretty up to par for the most part. Mekhi Becton looks like a Pro Bowl left tackle. Denzel Mims, I'm really liking him for what he's gotten so far in terms of reps. It makes me wonder, is Adam Gase really taking the organization hostage? But going back to that play call, what I was feeling a lot of mixed emotions because I wanted to save the embarrassment of going 0-16, but at the same time, you're still on track to get the ultimate reward, and that's the number one overall pick, which is what a lot of Jets fans want at this point. We are 4 games away from having the number one overall pick, and you could be possibly in the possession of Trevor Lawrence. So I guess what I'm trying to say is, looking back at that play, I was shocked in a sense. It was kind of an initial shock reaction, but at the end of the day, I was relieved because I was incredibly conflicted. I would never root for my team to lose. It's just not in my blood to purposely root for a team to drop a pass or blow a coverage or anything like that. But it was a sigh of relief knowing that we're still in the race for the number one overall pick. The Jaguars ended up beating the Vikings. So that was actually kind of a relief.
And it's like what you said when you were watching, you're like, oh my gosh, the Jaguars are going to probably win this game, so we can still win and still get the number one pick. That was kind of your win-win scenario there, right?
Yeah.
But as it turns out, now you got an extra game buffer to ensure that you get the number one pick at this point, since now the Jaguars did get the win, and you guys are still without one. We actually spent some time talking about that play on our roundtable last night, and we talked about the fact that even though the play before, like I said, Nelson Aguilar got behind him, and they did run a prevent defense and almost lost on that play. I guess when you look at that, you can almost say, well, if we did try to play the sort of conventional throw everybody back prevent and we still almost got burned on it, maybe that was the reason to try something different, just because, why sit back and get burned the same way twice, right? But when it doesn't work, everyone's going to just throw you under the bus, and that's pretty much what happened. But one last question before we talk about our matchup, which is that, some people are saying, they just did that on purpose because they want to get that overall number one pick. But, but coaches and players don't do that, right? I mean, back me up on that. I mean, with this team. But the players and the coaches are still playing for their next job. Adam Gase maybe in his own category. But these guys aren't trying to lose on purpose, because they know that if they look bad on tape, they're going to be looked at as a bad player and they may not get a job next year. So I think all these conspiracy theorists who think that, they're just all trying to lose just on purpose, I think that's pretty ridiculous, don't you think?
Well, yeah. Well, first off, I know in the chat, I see the chat right now saying that the Jags lost. I misspoke. I meant to say that the Jaguars did lose to the Vikings. I guess my little mind was.
Because that was right. That was the overtime game, right? Okay, you're right. Right. So actually, it gets in a lot of ways as good. Maybe it's even better that they didn't win. So you're right. Sorry about that.
Yeah, because I guess because the Jaguars are kind of winning the game most of the time, and the Jets are going to win. So I was hoping that the Jets won and still got the number one overall pick. It would have been a win-win. But in terms of the whole tanking scenario, look, I think what I've kind of grown to learn is that there's a variety of definitions now when it comes to tanking, and the main definition, the dictionary definition of tanking, I guess, is when teams will find ways to purposely lose football games. And like I said earlier, the Jets right now, they're going to play to win no matter what the situation is. Their players are going to play like they're going to win the game. That's how you're going to get a better evaluation of your players, especially once you bring in your next head coach and you implode the team and you get a better evaluation, you get more film on the young talent. That coach has an idea of what he's getting and what he's working with. So no team is going to purposely try to play to lose. But on the other hand, looking at the way the Jets kind of approach this season, I guess what fans now mean by the Jets are trying to lose every game is that they're trading away players. They're giving up players that give them the best chance to win for future compensation, like the Jamal Adams trade. But this was kind of a different scenario where Joe Douglas, our general manager, simply found an offer that he just simply could not refuse. So he took it and ran with it. But during the season, we started to see the Jets pretty much throwing a fire sale. They traded Steve McClendon after the Dolphin game, and then they traded Avery Williamson after the Chiefs game, all two very well-respected veterans that created a very solid locker room presence, or somewhat of a locker room presence for the New York Jets. So I guess if you want to consider that as tanking, where you're kind of giving away your best, your players that give you the best chance to win now for your future, then that's fine. But also looking at the way, you also got to look at the way the team is built too, because the coach is not good. The team is suffering a litany of injuries. They're consistently going through roster changes and personnel changes. And the main common denominator, which really sickens me, is the quarterback's ultimate regression. And I really, really love Sam Darnold. I do. I loved him when we got him out of USC. Norb, you know this better than anybody. But and I was really hoping that he could be our franchise quarterback. But then the Jets hired Adam Gase. And we were all concerned that he was going to ruin this guy. And the purpose of bringing in Adam Gase was to develop Sam Darnold. He did the complete opposite of that. And Sam Darnold has had an abysmal, and I mean abysmal, season as a third-year quarterback. And it's really unfortunate to see a 23-year-old quarterback with a ton of promise who probably had the highest ceiling in that quarterback draft class. And you look at all these quarterbacks now, Josh Allen playing at a top 10 quarterback level, Baker Mayfield, Lamar Jackson, all playing really well. The only one that's still struggling a bit is Sam Darnold. And the kid is still making mistakes they should not be making, but at the same time, you can't deny the situation that he's been in. So looking at the way that everything's going on, it's not a matter of the Jets purposely trying to lose games, unless you want to look at it in terms of trading away guys for future compensation. You're trying to build for the future. It's just knowing the fact that they're that bad.
Well, I remember back when that quarterback class was coming up, you really wanted Baker Mayfield. You were kind of settled on, okay, Sam Darnold's good too, but you really wanted Baker Mayfield. I remember you kept talking about it. That's the one you really wanted, right? And now he's finally starting to, he kind of got their coaching situation finally got a little bit straightened out. They got talent around him, and now we're starting to see the Browns finally coming out of the basement and doing some good things here. So I don't know, maybe that'll be you guys in 2-3 years. Who knows?
Yeah,
it depends what happens with their coaching with your guys' coaching situation.
Yeah, that's exactly what you're going to want out of Trevor Lawrence. And there's a notion out there saying that, but the Jets are going to ruin Trevor Lawrence. They're going to ruin his career. And I kind of understand that notion, because the New York Jets have had a very broad history of not being able to develop a young quarterback. And seeing what we've done with Sam Darnold, I am a little nervous for Trevor Lawrence, especially if somehow our incompetent owner decides to bring Adam Gase back for another season, which, knowing this owner, it's a slim possibility, because this owner finds ways to continuously defend him. And I know he's doing it for professional reasons, but to come out and say that he's a brilliant offensive mind when clearly he's not is just an asinine thing to say. So if the Jets get Trevor Lawrence, especially this goes with any other quarterback, and you look at all these other three quarterbacks in that draft class, Lamar Jackson, Josh Allen, Baker Mayfield, they all built around him. These respective organizations built around their young quarterback, and their quarterbacks now are thriving at their own element. And that's what you want to expect out of Trevor Lawrence, especially since if you have the number one overall pick, that could be the ultimate asset to attract a head coach to come to your organization. Because let's face it, if I was a head coach of a professional football team and I got the chance to work with the number 1 overall pick, I would go there in a heartbeat. Not to mention the fact that the Jets are nearing about $90 to $100 million in cap space to where they could build around Trevor Lawrence and they could try to get guys to come in here. Yes, you're going to have to overpay because of the reputation in the organization, but at the same time, you got to market your assets to your head coach. You got to market your assets to your free agent. And Trevor Lawrence, if the Jets do fall in position to get him, is the ultimate asset. So if the Jets do get Trevor Lawrence or they're on the verge of getting him, I want to see how they're going to put him in position to succeed. I want to see what they build around him. I want to see them get a legitimate head coach that can come in, have faith in his playmaker, running balanced system, and have faith in his playmakers to get the ball into their hands and run an unpredictable offense. Because you're seeing it with the Tennessee Titans right now. You wouldn't have talked about players like Jonnu Smith and A.J. Brown 2 years ago, but now there's some pretty solid players that are contributing to a Tennessee Titans team that's very well balanced. So that's just my thoughts on Lawrence there.
Well, and my special guest, of course, Gangrene David. You can reach him. His YouTube channel is in the description, and his Twitter right there at Gangrene David 1. So tell me, why has Adam Gase not been fired yet? When it seems like he could have been fired a long time ago. What's keeping him there?
I think the notion is, I think it just comes down to the owner. You know, you can go and just search for plenty of theories on why he hasn't been fired yet, but our brilliant owner, who is our acting owner right now, because our current owner is still the UK ambassador to the president of the United States, he decided to address the media 1 week into the season and give Adam Gase his full vote of confidence. And I guess the other reason why he's not firing him yet, because he doesn't want to go back on his word. And he also says that it's not quote unquote ideal to bring in an interim head coach. Dude, the guy has ruined your organization. The guy has ruined your franchise quarterback prospect. Why has he not been fired yet? But now looking at it, you're 0-12, and Gase already knows that he's out the door. And if the Jets are really willing to wait till the end of the season to get rid of him, then, and you go 0-16, if that's what it's going to take to get rid of him, then get rid of him. But as a Jet fan and many other Jet fans, I want him gone. Because the fact that coaches like Bill O'Brien, Dan Quinn, think I'm missing one other, they got fired before, and Matt Patricia. They all got fired before Gase. Mind boggles the hell out of me, because these coaches are far more competent than this fraud of a head coach.
All right, so let's talk now about this Seahawks-Jets matchup. Obviously, Seahawks in a must-win situation right now, given that right now they're chasing the Rams, who will be playing shortly against the Patriots, who obviously I'm rooting for the Patriots tonight. Ugh, hate when I have to do that, but I had to do that a few times this year and probably some more. But must-win game. So tell me, what scenario could happen where the Jets could possibly win this game? What can you tell me about the Jets where this situation could happen?
Well, I mean, looking at the Seattle Seahawks offense, I know you guys are coming off a brutal loss to the Giants, but the way the Giants defense has been playing lately, especially up front, their secondary is playing better, especially since they got a Pro Bowl caliber corner, James Bradbury. The Giants did find a way to shut him down, and they found a way to get to Russell Wilson, and they pretty much they were rallying him around a little bit, put him under pressure. Bradbury did everything he can against DK Metcalf, who has been outstanding this year. So I think it's going to be the same thing as the Raiders. I mean, the Jets defense right now is ranked at the bottom tier of the league, and they have an interim defensive coordinator now in place with Greg Williams fired. Their secondary is completely unknown. I mean, one starting cornerback is coming off injury, whoop-de-doo. Not to mention, we have another starting cornerback on IR who's probably been one of our better-ish corners, you want to say that. And our veteran cornerback, who we brought in on a one-year deal to serve as that cornerback to go up against these number one caliber wide receivers, has been released. So we have no secondary. The defensive line, I think, is probably average at best. Quinton Williams is definitely stepping up his game. And the safeties, you got a bunch of young bucks back there. You got Ashton Davis, Marcus May. I really like him too. He's been playing really well, creates that veteran presence on the defense side of the ball. But the Seahawks offense, in my opinion, it's going to be a matchup nightmare for that defense, because even though you guys had a bad loss to the Giants, I still find the Seattle Seahawks to be one of the better offenses in football. I don't think one bad game is going to throw a quarterback like Russell Wilson off his game entirely. This is a quarterback that performs on a consistent basis, and that is why he's considered a top quarterback in the league. And you also got very solid wide receivers. You got Tyler Lockett, who's now a very speedy veteran. DK Metcalf, like I said, is playing outstanding. You got David Moore, too, some under the radar guys. And you got Chris Carson back there, a very solid running back too. So in terms of what we got to do on the offensive side of the ball, we got to have a similar game plan to what we did against the Raiders last week, and it starts with the run game. Who would have expected a running back like Ty Johnson to have 100 yards rushing? So I think you're going to want to really just focus on running to the left side because that's where your best tackle plays. And this tackle has continuously opened up running lane after running lane. So you want to get the run game going. You want to get a balanced play call system going. And in terms of Darnold, he's losing Mims. Denzel Mims will not be playing in this game. Crowder's
I heard that.
Yeah, so you're pretty much then dealing with Brashad Perriman, and assuming that Jamison Crowder doesn't play, then you're dealing with question marks after that. So I think it's going to come down to the run game. You want to get your running backs involved and try to take advantage of the Seahawks defense as much as you possibly can. And I guess that's looking at it from an analytical standpoint. But in terms of a fan standpoint, I would love to see nothing more, especially if Jamal is lined up in the box and he's lined up off the edge. I would love to see nothing more than Mekhi Becton just absolutely pancake him.
So you're still a little bitter about that.
I mean, well, look, obviously going back to that trade, we got 2 first-round picks for disgruntled safety that didn't want to be there anymore. So, like I said, I said in a video yesterday, Jamal Adams is going to be somebody that lots of Hawks fans and Jets fans are going to keep an eye on because we've been kind of waiting for this moment ever since the trade happened back in July. So, I'm excited to play Jamal again. I know the guy's going to be out for vengeance playing against his former team. And I know he said that playing as a New York Jet made him battle depression, which I think was just a mind-numbing statement to make. I think it was just absurd to say. But, I think that's the main storyline for this game.
Well, definitely, I'm sure the cameras will be featuring a lot of close-ups of number 33 back there. And he's so far been everything I think we've wanted and more. I mean, the guy, other than missing a stretch of games, he missed 4 games, but he's 7.5 sacks. Pushing, he's chasing that sacks by a safety. I mean, he's looking to set some records, and he's a great tackler as well. Yeah, his coverage sometimes is questionable, but, I think it started off where because of the injury issue, he didn't get to have that whole time to really gel with the defense. But I think things are starting to come together on that aspect. So you brought up a lot of different things. It sounds like for an offense that basically is, I think you guys are ranked dead last in offensive production. You're going with you don't have Denzel Mims, so you already have a semi-empty chamber in there. So it sounds like what you're saying is it's not going to be the threat of the pass, that if the Jets are going to get anything going, you're going to have to do it in the ground game. Is that what you're basically saying? We got to stop the run, and if we stop the run, that's pretty much stopping the Jets offense?
I think that's what it's going to come down to. I mean, if Crowder plays, that could be huge. And knowing Sam Darnold, how much he loves to throw to Crowder, you could definitely see some doses of him. But yeah, I think it's going to come down to the run game, especially since I also want to see the young guys get involved. I want to see Ty Johnson get involved. I also want to see Josh Adams get involved a little bit, and I want to see some of the younger receivers get involved too. And I was really wanting to see Denzel Mims play because this is another player who Jets fans claimed was a steal in the draft. And a lot of Jets fans have liked what they've seen out of Mims so far. I mean, he has yet to get his first career touchdown. I mean, he's kind of had to go through a lot of hurdles this season. But I think it's just an evaluation of all the young talent that you got at this point. That's what I'm going to be rooting for.
And so, Seattle has been typically, for every game that they've lost, the reason there are certain things that are always in common. And before I get to that, I got to acknowledge in the super chat, Chef Jack Attack. He says, "You got this." That's kind of been his catchphrase ever since I started doing the Madden battle against the Jets. Chef Jack Attack. That's his saying. You got this. Hopefully Seattle's got this. But Seattle's basically they go as Russell Wilson goes. When Russell's efficient or better, we win. When he turns the ball over and we lose the turnover battle and he gets sacked or makes bad decisions, then we lose. So I would imagine from a defensive standpoint, that's kind of where the Jets got to be looking at that side of the ball, looking, well, if we're going to try to stop Russell Wilson, we're going to have to try to do what some of these other teams have done. But they don't have Greg Williams there. As much as I'm disappointed, I would have loved to have seen the face-to-face close-ups of Jamal Adams staring down Greg Williams on the sideline. We're not going to get to see it because he got fired. Yeah, Adam Gase, though. He's got plenty of Adam Gase close-ups. Yes, he'll do that. But who's going to be the Who's going to be the interim defensive coordinator? What do you know about him?
Frank Bush. He was the Texans defensive coordinator in 2009. And he also was the same defensive coordinator that allowed Santonio Holmes to score the game-winning touchdown against the Texans in the corner of the end zone, which is probably one of the better Jet moments from this past decade. So it's going to be interesting to see what he dials up, but he's not a long-term solution.
Right.
So.
Well, and I guess that's always that thing. Whenever there's the new coach, the new somebody, it's not what you haven't. Whatever he's going to bring out, maybe something they haven't seen on tape yet. So who knows what kind of wrinkles he brings in? Because Greg Williams definitely had his own style, his own aggressive, as seen in that Raiders game, not conventional defense. It'll be interesting to see what the interim coordinator does in the meantime. So, any other wrinkles to this game that we haven't covered yet? I guess. At some point, I'm going to have to ask you, what do you think your score prediction is going to be for this game? But is there anything else I haven't asked you? Anything, little surprises? Anything that you can go, well, there's always this that could possibly change the game. Is there any surprises that could be lurking in there?
Yeah, there's one more thing you should be aware of in this game. Our brilliant Pro Bowl punter, because that's the only other Pro Bowler we got on the team.
Well, I never underestimate the kicking game, man, because that field goal kicker, that punter, he can make or break change the field, get that extra point that might make the difference in the game. So you're laughing now, but you might be thanking yourself for that punter at some point. Whether it's this game or later down the line, that punter might save a game for you. Michael Dixon, our punter, has saved our butts many a time by booting that ball deep in the within the 10-yard line for the opponent.
Yeah, well, the thing with our punter is that he always ends up punting deep inside Jets territory. He always punts from at the Jet 10 or the Jet 5 or the Jet 8 or even the Jet 1 yard line at times. It's always a matter of fact that when the Jets get the ball so deep into their own territory that the punting is just irrelevant at that point. I mean, you're going to get the ball good field position regardless.
Well, I'm hoping for our team's sake that we see a lot of that. I'd like to see a lot of balls caught at the 50-yard line with a short field.
Let me ask you a question, because I know we talked about Jamal Adams. How has Brandon Shell been doing? Because I've heard that he's actually he's been a very competent right tackle.
He's been great, actually. In fact, we're really missing him because he's been out ever since that Cardinals game where we beat the Cardinals in the rematch. He got his high ankle sprain, and he hasn't played since. And we have been struggling. In that Giants game, a big part of it, we were down to our practically fourth string right tackle in that game, and there were definitely times when he struggled. And so Brandon Shell has actually been a bright spot in our offensive line. He actually has only had one holding penalty. Unfortunately, he's had a few false starts, which I don't get, especially when there's no noise in the stadiums. But hey, can't have it all. But when we had Jermaine Ifedi, the holding machine on the right side, he was the penalty leader. The fact that we only have one holding call when you normally expect at least 2 per game from Ifedi, 1 in a season, is pretty darn welcoming. So he's actually been good. I have no complaints. That right side has been real solid with Damian Lewis, our rookie right guard, who actually had to play some center, and then with Brandon Shell, it was a surprisingly stable right side considering that these were 2 names that hadn't been on the team before. So yeah, we want him back, and it sounds like there's a chance he may be back to play on Sunday.
Yeah, I heard he might be back. But he'll probably have himself a good game because we have no edge rusher either.
Well, thank goodness for that, because we need a feel good game right now. Because it's funny how we must be the most depressed 8-4 fan base in the entire NFL. Because man, we lose one game and everybody starts to lose their mind and start talking about bench Russell Wilson, fire Carroll, fire everybody. I mean, it's nuts, man. I could only imagine. We've just been so spoiled here, man. And you guys have been the exact opposite. So for you guys, a win would be like a man in the desert finding a bottle of water versus here.
That would be our Super Bowl.
Yeah, right. And for us, it's like, oh, I have to drink out of a bottle this time? Oh, come on. What is this? What kind of treatment are we getting here? Entitled, man. I tell you, it's crazy. I did get another super chat. Where is it? Where'd it go? I'm trying to find it here. Oh, Chef Jack said, should be called New Jersey Jets. Not going to lie. Well, they share that stadium. That stadium, by the way, New York, New Jersey. I guess technically New Jersey address, but will always be one of my favorite.
The Washington football team doesn't play in Washington. They play in Landover, Maryland.
And the San Francisco 49ers don't play in San Francisco anymore either. So,
so you might as well just call them the Santa Clara 49ers or the Landover football team if that's the case.
Yep, exactly. So, well, do you have a score prediction of this game, my friend?
You guys are not going to get upset like that again. I mean, keep in mind you guys are playing a dysfunctional, possibly tanking 0-12 organization who's got to travel all the way to the West Coast. They're going to be jet lagged too, so let's not forget about that. So I'm going to say the Seattle Seahawks are going to clobber the living hell out of Jets. They're pretty much at a point where it's a statement game. I'm going to say 38-10 Seattle.
Wow. Okay. Well, you actually upped my my number. I had similar digits, but I said at the beginning of the season that it was going to be 35-17. But you kind of upped the difference on there. But, well, I hope for our sake that you're right or I'm right or we're both right. But, I did a collab like this with the Giants fan, and he picked against his team. And I said, you're not just like doing some reverse psychology thing here, trying to jinx us or something, anything, right? And then we saw what happened. So I know these are two totally different teams here. So we'll see. At this point, I don't take anybody lightly. The Seattle Seahawks have not blown out anybody all season. So to predict a blowout now, I feel like I'm treading on scary waters. Because what happens now, the danger here from a team that's in our position, we only have everything to lose. Because if we destroy you guys 65-0, the story will be, well, it was the Jets. You guys didn't prove anything. You guys are still haven't beaten anybody with a real record. If we win and it's close, they'll go, oh my God, you guys barely beat the Jets. You guys suck. And then, of course, anything worse than that, you might as well just mail it in and quit the season because, we're not going anywhere, apparently. So, that's the danger of playing a team like the Jets, because no matter what, you can't really win because you're only expected to win and win big. And if you don't deliver as big as the prediction is, you've failed. So I hope, man, your prediction is right. Otherwise, we're going to be hearing about it on Monday about how poorly we played against the winless team. I'm not taking this game lightly.
Still be a win. Won't matter.
So here's the. I got a shout out in the super chat to Lena Dahl. She says, where is it? She said, "Did you laugh when you read about Beast Mode's stipulation on coming back? LOL." I actually haven't read that. I haven't read that stipulation. Feel free to put it in the chat because I did not actually read that stipulation. I missed the. I was working, so I missed that comment. It was something that just came out. Chef Jack Attack says, 31-21 Hawks, you got this. You got this, he says. All right. Let me ask you this, man. In that hypothetical end of the year, let's say you and the Jaguars are tied, and it comes down to you just have to lose that final game, and you guys have the ball at the 1-yard line to win the game with 2 seconds left. All you got to do is run it in, right? Do you think at that point that somebody on that field in a headset, owner calling down to the coach or something, is going to say, no matter what you do not get that ball in the end zone? Do you think it would come down to that where somebody is going to call a play to make sure that the Jets do not lose that number 1 draft pick on the final play of the 2020 season? Would it actually then come to a conscious effort to make sure it didn't happen?
Well, just anybody who wonders who we played week 17, not like it won't matter. We got the Patriots that week, so they're pretty much going to be playing for they might have some playoff implications to deal with. But I think they'll probably just call something stupid anyway. Especially since the Jaguars will probably be losing their last game of the season. They'll probably have a tough opponent themselves. I think they're probably going to call some weird play action play or something. They'll probably drop
double
back
reverse
to the 1-yard line. That'll be the typical Jet call to make. to literally pass at the 1 yard line. And I know you guys did this in the Super Bowl.
Yeah, I know. I was going to say, hey, watch what you're saying there, pal.
But that's exactly what will happen. They'll probably the right thing to do would be to run it in. That would be the right thing to do. But instead of just saying, "Oh, call some play, make sure you don't get into the end zone," they're going to call some ridiculous pass play, and it's going to wind up in a turnover or something, and the game will be over. I think I can see how that will go. But other than that, I think we're going 0-16. I mean, we got playoff teams the rest of the way. We got you guys, and we got the Rams, we got the Browns, and then we got the Patriots week 17. So,
I would love for you guys to somehow beat the Rams. I hope the Patriots could beat the Rams tonight and get them in some kind of a mess, and then it would be so hilarious if the Jets could somehow beat the Rams. Yeah, I know you're playing in LA, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Not that the location makes as much difference, but yeah, just to make it that much more easy on you guys. Well, one game at a time, so we'll see what happens this week. So what do you got going this week? Anything you want to tell the fans about? Any videos coming up? Are you doing your own live reactions? What do you got going on your channel?
Well, yeah, I'm still doing videos. I am actually taking my channel in a new direction. I'm bringing back wrestling to my channel because I'm also a diehard wrestling fan.
Yeah, I know you've always been covering that on the side. So okay.
I mean, I kind of took a break from it about a year and a half ago, and then because I started really getting back into it, and I've been streaming it all year with someone else. I figured, you know what, I might as well just bring it back. It's something that I've been passionate about since I was about 9 years old, and I know people are gonna be like, "Oh, wrestling's fake, wrestling's fake." Well, you know what? That's your opinion. I love it. I find it entertaining. It's sports entertainment. So I'm bringing those back to my channel. I would like to also bring UFC back. I'm pretty much trying to expand my channel right now. I mean, the Jets content will still stay alive, and this will be a good direction to go into, especially once we come to the point where there's nothing to talk about. So yeah, I'm excited to go into the new direction of the channel, especially with the season winding down, and then we can start talking about head coaching candidates, and then before you know, we can also start talking about free agents and hopefully draft picks, and then before you know it, hopefully Trevor Lawrence will be in a Jet uniform. And those of you who want to say we're going to ruin him, well, guess what? Jet fans are going to be excited for him no matter what. So that is what it is. And yeah, so it's a fun direction now, and I'm excited to move forward.
Yeah, all right, man. Well, I'm glad you're still doing your stuff. It'll be cool to watch where your channel goes from here. But I did have a couple of comments I wanted to address. Jose Julian says, "Hey, Norb, what's up? Where are you from, buddy? China, Thailand?" Neither, actually. I was born here in the States, but my parents were from the Philippines. So I'm Filipino by background. And Nickelbo wanted to ask Gangrene David. He says, "How's George Fant and Bradley McDougald been for the Jets?" So I know those guys ended up on you guys. I always look at that secondary. I don't see Bradley McDougald out there. And George Fant, we talked about George Fant. You asked me, what about George Fant? I said, he was a sixth lineman they would throw in there every once in a while. So I was surprised what they did. So how did those guys do? Whatever happened with those guys on your team?
Well, George Fant has been kind of getting hurt a little bit. So the injuries kind of concern me with him a bit. But other than that, I mean, it was a little bit of a risky investment. I think it was a boom or bust signing that we had, and because I know he was kind of a jumbo set lineman, and I know there were times when he kind of did match up against some of those top-notch defensive ends. I know he had a couple matchups with Nick Bosa, but seeing him play on the right side, I just hope that he can stay healthy. But at the same time, I think he's been above average. He hasn't been awful. I'm not saying he's an elite right tackle, but I think he's a decent contributor to what we got, especially since we made it our mission to revamp our entire offensive line. We brought in 4 new starters on the line, including Becton, and Fant was one, and Fant was one of them. And
did Sam Darnold try to throw a pass to him yet? Because he did catch a pass when he was in our time with Seattle, and 2 attempts.
No.
Darn. So he's not active. Is he not active for this game on Sunday?
I think he should be.
So we might actually see him on the field. Okay. Now McDougald though,
McDougald stinks. Oh my God. McDougald has been incredible. I mean, he had a couple of fumble recoveries, but other than that, he hasn't been good. And now he's been on IR since week 8 or something like that. I mean,
Okay.
we haven't seen him since. I mean, thankfully, it's a 30-year-old Band-Aid on the last year of his contract, and I know that's what we got in replace of Jamal Adams with the draft compensation. But I was more focused on the draft compensation we got for Jamal than McDougal.
I was surprised he was that bad because he was actually a part of when the Jamal Adams deal went down. Losing Bradley McDougal initially was part of the disappointment because I actually thought he was pretty solid back there, but apparently in your system he did not thrive whatsoever, and then the injury bug hit. So that's unfortunate to have seen for him anyway.
Yeah, that's unfortunate. Injury bug hit Fan too, but the injury bug has hit the Jets for the last couple of years.
Well, we've all been hit by the injury bug this year. I don't think any team hasn't been.
I could read you the Jets injury report, and it would literally be a scroll. I would literally put the scroll all the way out, and I would just be like, okay, so this guy's not playing, this guy's not practicing, this guy's not practicing. It's ridiculous. We just can't catch a break.
So Alina Dahl back in the Super Chat answered that question about Marshawn Lynch, what he said about coming back to retirement. He says he's open to coming back, but it would have to be a Super Bowl team. He was on Conan, I guess, last night talking about it. Well, I guess we'll find out. There's a lot of people say, hey, maybe they'll bring back Marshawn Lynch back. I don't know. That was a weird exception last year. We lost every single running back practically on our squad last year when they had to bring him back. But it was fun. He almost pulled some magic out in that final game against the 49ers. And we will play the 49ers again to end the season, this time in San Francisco, or technically Santa Clara. So we'll see. I wouldn't put money on Marshawn Lynch coming back anytime soon, though. He scored some 1-yard touchdowns, a few runs, but he wasn't all that great. But we'll see what happens. Hopefully we won't need to. All right, man. Well, that's about it, man. I just glad we got to do this. It's that every 4 years, and I know we talked originally that the idea that, hey, maybe you could come to this game and we can meet up at the stadium, and as it turns out, we're going to have to wait another 4. Well, for them coming back here, it's going to be another 8 unless we meet in the Super Bowl sometime. But it's probably going to be another 8 years before we get that chance to meet in person in Seattle. So unless I can find my way to the next Jets game over in your side of the woods, well, our in-person meeting will have to wait for a while. But at least we can do this, man. It's always good to see you.
Of course, feelings mutual.
All right. Well, there you go. So, again, my special guest, Gang Green David. You can check out his description, his YouTube channel in my description. Also, reach him on Twitter at GangGreenDavid1. Best of luck, man. On Sunday, we'll both be watching, and we'll see how it goes and see how the numbers and all the analytics and all the data all come down at the end of Sunday, and we'll see one more game, one more weekend, and one more step closer to that end of the season, which I know you're just waiting to get to the end so you can look forward to the draft. Of course, we're trying to find a way to hang in there and maybe somehow find the division and hopefully get into the playoffs. But we'll see, man. Thanks for being on here, man. Yep, go ahead.
Well, of course. Well, first off, I want to thank you for having me on, and those of you guys in the chat, thank you guys for showing this man all the support that he deserves, because I've been watching NorbCam since about 2014. I've loved his content, so it goes back to my earlier days. And I remember I was just a little typer, constantly typing comments and just asking him all these questions. And I would just get incredibly ecstatic when he would shout me out. So, it was definitely a lot of fun, getting that shout out from Norb and just seeing him do all the traveling and seeing him do all the vlogs and all the videos where he just shares that experience with a whole bunch of Seahawks fans that can't experience a Seahawks game themselves. It kind of inspired me to do something similar. So this man right here, if it wasn't for him and his content and his inspiration, I would not be where I am today. So Norb, I got to thank you for inspiring me to make videos. And I got to thank you for actually also being one of my first collabs, because I was just starting out 4 years ago, or 4.5 years ago. We played that year, and you were the first person that I worked with. And, it was definitely great to be on with you. And it was also great to do like a live dual reaction as well. So
that was very unique. We did the trifecta, man. We did the pregame collab, we did the game simultaneous reaction collab, and then we did, I think, a postgame collab. So we like really milked it.
Yeah. I remember I had to put a Seahawks hat on. I think I still have that hat somewhere. I remember I had to put the Seahawks hat on in my video to pretty much just do my post game recap and congratulate you guys. But just the last 4 years grinding out content, it's been a fun ride. And your inspiration is definitely a big part of it. So I want to thank you for having me on once again. It's always awesome to work with you, especially in these kinds of once every 4 year scenarios. Yeah. And even though you guys are going to kick our butts on Sunday, this is still definitely fun to do. So thank you so much for all you've done for me, my channel, and just inspire me to just keep grinding out there. And, I'm going to continue to be better.
It's always my pleasure, man. I always love to connect with you, and we don't have to wait every 4 years before we can do another collab. We'll definitely be doing more things along the way. Before we go, I do have to acknowledge John Vales. I don't know if he's one of your people. He's a Jets guy. He kept asking, why not Jet Central? We were trying to get Jet Central on here. I'd send him a message, and we always see each other on our Fan Network collaborations, and we collabed when we talked about the Jamal Adams trade, but it didn't work out for whatever reason. I did try to. So Jet Central, sorry, it didn't work out, man. But luckily, I got Gangrene David right here. So before we sign off, man, we got to do our characters, man. It wouldn't be a NorbCam Gangrene collaboration if we don't bust out with a little signature character. Are you ready? Are you ready before we sign off, man?
I mean, I haven't done that impression.
I want to see Squidward. Come on, bring him out, man. We only do this every 4 years. Let's go. Let's see him. I want to hear him. Go.
SpongeBob, would you keep it down? I'm trying to do a collaboration with Chrysostom over here. Now bring me my Krabby Patty so I can go watch the New York Jets lose to the Seattle Seahawks.
That's
I can
right.
go wallow in fear and play my clarinet.
That's very funny, man. That's very funny. I love that character. We got to do a sketch together sometime, man. You know what I'm saying? We've been talking about it, but we never do it. Let's just do it, okay? Let's do it. Sound good?
Well, considering that I'm looking for a bunch of fame. No, I'm kidding. No, but yeah, that would be a lot of fun, Chrysostomo. That would be a very, very fun idea. Maybe when the New York Jets play the 49ers in a few more years.
Yeah, that's right. That sounds like a good plan. All right, we're going to sign off just like this. Thanks for watching, you guys. Don't subscribe to Norb because he's a jerk. We'll talk to y'all later. Go Niners.